Is there anybody at home?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Recording started.
Welcome to the board meeting of the Santa Clara Community Organization. Yay! For the month of September. Can you believe it? No. So we have an agenda which I have neglected to look at. But I know I put 3 things on it. One was follow up with the neighborhood plan. One was program management for us as a group. And the other one was
Communications.
thank you, the communications thing. And since that might be Jerry, we'll wait on communications. But we could, let's see, we could adopt minutes. So
Minutes,
yeah,
and
Jerry.
I'd also like to give a treasurer's report. I haven't done that.
Right. And then we want to go and talk about the outstanding charges for the event, because I think that the budget we submitted would cover that. So we just need to submit the outlying receipts.
I'm glad we're talking about this because my only thing is Bob and I did want to make a donation, so not all of it, and we can.
Maybe you would like to consider donating to the event fund for future events, and we can cover this because it was in our budget by the budget for our community organization.
So do both.
Right, you
Reimburse
donated
you
to
for
a.
your expenses and then you donate.
Okay,
So it works out.
is that
the
a
same,
better
but
option? Is that a better way to do
Well,
it?
I think so. That
Is it cleaner?
It's traceable. tax.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
then let's.
Jerry,
Clean is good.
Just go, it's like into the.
Welcome on this side, or I think there's a spot over there.
Okay.
This is apple cider and fizzy water mix, but home pressed apple cider, so raw apple cider
How did you process?
with the cider press.
Where do you decide to put?
There's 2 in the neighborhood, and I go to their houses and press there.
Wow. You know, they make cider presses. The guy made some over in Veneta, right? Did you get the Veneta one?
This one, my friend has had since the early 70s, so I don't know who made it, but it's now his son repairs them because we rebuilt it last year. So I don't know who.
It's a squirrel on the. Got that thing right, sorry.
But makes the meeting very interesting.
Welcome, Jerry. So let's start by talking about minutes, and would entertain a motion to adopt the minutes as amended by Terry via email.
So move.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Matt. And all in favor of accepting those minutes?
Aye.
Okay. Unanimous. So then let's go into what we were talking about, which was the outlying expenses for the concert. That's on our agenda. And
Let me give the treasurer's report.
oh, yes, please.
In our account, there's a total of $3,391.99. There's about $90, I think, in E and I account too, but special events account right now is $367. Garden account is $2,501.64, which leaves a general fund of $523.35.
Okay,
Thank you.
good to know. So Terry, I don't have your email in front of me of what you said was uncovered, but when we submitted our year program, we had a total for the event estimated between $3,700 and $3,800 plus dollars, and we had a grant for $2,500, and so we had uncovered expenses here of $1,234 to $1,384 in our budget.
Okay.
So I'm assuming, given that all my interactions with Cindy so far, and the city has not said like a formal yes, all of your neighborhood plan things are covered. But when we started, or we like late July, and I sent her an email saying, we haven't heard anything about the budget that you required us to submit early. And we're already well into our events and we will be spending money. So I need to know. And she said, okay, well, I looked it over and it looks like it's all good. That's what I've heard. So
What's that mean,
I
right?
think that
Right.
means
They just send
I'm
a
gonna
check and we
take
fill it
that
out.
to mean that the things we ask for are the things we can ask for. And
Regardless
so-
of the grant that we got from the city.
Yeah, well,
Right.
our thing says that in addition to the grant, we would have another $1,300 of expenses for that event. So whatever those expenses are, we should just submit those.
Okay, because I have it now in front of me, sorry. I had to look it up. So the total concert expenses were $3,316.58. We got the $2,500 grant, the $250 from the foundation, leaving $566.58.
Well, then they're getting a bargain because we told them we'd be asking for upwards of $1,200.
568, what?
566.58.
Is the outstanding that
Mhm.
we don't actually have covered by current money.
Yes. And I want to make sure, was that my revised, hold on, because remember
Mhm.
when I found the discrepancy, let me see this. Let me just see, it's a few dollars.
The $250 was from where?
The foundation.
Foundation.
Yep.
So that covers the canopies that we asked in the chair? Because in our budget, the canopies, we only put in $675 for that, but it cost us more than that.
It was almost 1,000.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So then something else must have been less expensive.
Action rental was less expensive.
No, we went with destination.
I know, but Action was going to be, but they didn't deliver on Sunday. So
So maybe,
Right.
Yes,
so that's
So
where
no-
that
my
money,
deposit,
that's where
yeah.
that, estimate came from.
right, I get that, but then our total should have been, well, whatever. In any case, I think we should just ask for it and not worry about it. Just submit the,
She's already okayed the postcard mailing, so
Mhm.
thanks for that.
And so then we should just look back and if there are, so your expenses for Otter Pups and other things could be covered because we specifically asked for at least $50 in drinking water and supplies. And then an extra $100 for entertainment, which I thought would be more like toys. So if you ended up buying toys for this, we could submit receipts for that too.
I'll take a look and see if I have receipts, but I'm not, it's not a huge deal to me. But
and the ice that your family donated to.
Yeah.
that was way too much ice.
Not for justice, they were thrilled. Absolutely thrilled.
So, yeah, you could well, that could actually go right into that one.
I did not include that. He
Uh-huh.
said it was a donation, but it needs to be on the record. Those
Right, it really helps if
Donated
all that stuff
for
to
the
be on the
ice.
record, because then it flows forward. Say, well, this is how much you spent last year,
Right.
why ain't this much again?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we'll find receipts. It
And it was, I thought you said it was about
was like 80,
$90.
yeah, 85, $90, something like that.
Well, if you have receipts for that, we could submit it as a cost for the event and just get
And then I'll
reimbursed
reimburse.
for it.
I can find that.
Let's
It's on
do
my
that.
Costco.
Yeah.
Mhm. Because it's still well within our budget there.
You're right. It is for kind of forecasting ahead.
Mhm.
It's pretty good.
To have a clean accounting of what actually happened.
Yeah.
And then if they say, well, we'll do yes, this, no, not that, then maybe we have to find something else, but I think it's worth.
Cut the
putting it
ice
in
out
there.
there.
Yeah.
You can't get it if you don't ask.
Doesn't
Mhm.
hurt to ask, yeah.
Right, so let's just do that.
Just return the ice.
Got some pretty strange looks in the parking lot walking out with, I think it's like 20 plus bags of ice. People are
And
like,
yeah, the big ones too.
yeah, there's a lot of ice.
Uh-huh.
But it all.
Filled the whole, yeah, filled the back of my truck.
Did you say, well, the power's out at the morgue?
People, well, one person was like, I want to go where you're going.
You said you
Yeah, so as a matter of fact, it's open to everybody.
Okay. All right, so I think that if we can get all this covered by our budget, then I think we're good, yeah?
Okay. Okay.
And that's what we're gonna plan for, because that's what we said we wanted. And if you need help submitting that to Cindy or whatever, let me know.
I can just send my list of expenses plus max?
Well, I think they need actual receipts or photographs of receipts or.
You have them.
I have copies of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's what I've done with her in the past. to
Okay.
get reimbursed.
You want to get those back to you.
no, because I have those, your copies were copies of my copies.
And then I wanted to discuss programming for our general meetings. Because up till now, we've either just had the feeling that something will happen and we will be able to fill the slots, or Kate, you figure it out. And I'm done with that as our model, because every time we have to do a mailing and we want to be able to let people know what we're going to be doing to bring more people into the organization, we don't have anything on the books, and that becomes stressful for Jerry and for everybody else who's trying to manifest something in a very short time frame. So and that's not, I think it needs to be a shared responsibility.
I recommend the program committee.
Okay, and how do we staff that committee?
Volunteers from the board and the community,
Yeah,
so we decide who's going to chair it. That's on the board. I'm not volunteering, I'm just saying. And whoever wants to join, and then bring it up at the next general meeting and say we would like people to be on this committee, and have a meeting time on their own, and they get a list of possibilities, and have them contact people if they feel like it, and then present that to the board. And we decide what we think is an appropriate thing. And we tell them it can be anything, think out of the box, and just put together a list, and then anything that we really think we like as a board, really we'll just be throwing out oddball things, because I think anything goes, right?
yeah.
So-
And then there will be things that we'll suggest, I think, based on what we
That's
know
right.
is coming up as.
Is there any sequence of kinds of meetings that we want to do on a regular basis, sort of emergency planning meetings, that homeless stuff,
SJC meetings,
SJC meetings? I mean, do we have any
other buckets?
Mhm.
Not
that?
No,
we
not
haven't-
that's. Yeah, basically emergency preparedness people have dropped off the map.
Okay.
So both George and Joel, and they're not even participating with Ready Northwest or the other group.
And that happens a lot. I've been involved in that for several decades.
Uh-huh.
Unless there's emergencies happening, people just don't have it on the front of their.
Right.
I don't know if there was some specific topics that kind of got recycled.
They pass some, sorry, I'll let you, they pass some of the stuff to me, and then I post it,
Mhm.
but it's getting fewer.
Uh-huh.
The SJC internally has a commitment to present an educational piece quarterly. So that's our goal as a committee. And so they've been doing, and they've been happening. So,
So they've been
That's
great.
kind of what I'm asking.
yeah, so that's a quarterly meeting. And we don't have, we're like 2 or 3, 10, like 3 sessions ahead usually, we know what's coming, or at least ideas are 2 or 3 sessions ahead, so we know what's this quarter. I think we talked about slots for the next quarter, although I don't remember off the top of my head right now. And then, so we're always we're a little bit ahead on it, but I couldn't tell you today, like the whole year's work, because we're not that far ahead.
But if we knew that on specific meeting dates, it was going to be an SJC presentation, that at least could get into something like the postcard or the newsletter.
Right, and we only do those quarterly, right? So that's our idea, is 2 newsletters and 2 postcards. And those are the opportunities for us to forecast what's going on,
Right.
so that we can get people. So you don't have to go a year. in
Yeah,
advance.
yeah.
It's really only,
Right.
4 months, 3 to 4 months in advance. And if we can figure that out, and now that we have a little bit of a break in our general meeting schedules by having board meetings, hopefully we can catch up, be able to help direct, at least until we have a functioning committee, as Tim suggests. Yeah, you go ahead.
Do you folks think that there's people who will volunteer for a program committee?
I have no idea.
I don't know of anybody off the top of my head, but you never know till you ask.
Yep.
What's the goal of the program then? Are we trying to gain new members? Are we trying to put on meetings to bring people in? Are we trying to?
That is a great question that we really have never talked about.
And I just also, I think, addressing current
Yeah, you know,
concerns or opportunities, like the way our meetings have been. I think that's the kind of programming we're talking about, and let somebody have a lot more insight on that. Occasionally we have guest speakers, we have current event topics that are related to the municipalities or work going on in the neighborhood or what have you, but.
It's evolved over time, like when the neighborhood plan was really intense, an intense process, there were lots related to that. It does tend to ebb and flow with current events, I would say. But I don't remember us ever having a conversation where we actually like thought proactively about, which would be good. It's kind of what you're talking about. We thought proactively
Because it's a
about.
huge burden. on the
Well,
leaders.
and we didn't have board meetings, so we didn't have a chance to just talk about board stuff, which is the advantage we have here. And I would just also throw in that, it has been stated multiple times from multiple people that it would be more fun if the meetings were more fun and that there were more, more either social content or food and having concerts now maybe is a new phase that is really good for community fun, but whether the membership meetings can have something in it that isn't just the latest dry topic of concern.
Like a time frame of meet and greet, like mingling.
Could be. I mean, that's on the table. Like, we can make the membership, now that their membership meetings separate from board meetings, I think we can craft them in the way we
I say
want.
we bring back gambling.
Well, that's always been fun.
Yeah.
And we would have roll dice at the end of the meeting and
Yeah.
you get half the pot.
Forgot about that.
But we don't need the operating funds anymore for that.
Wait.
Yeah.
Depends on what we have going.
There are lots of neighborhood associations that have, instead of a meeting one month, they have like a cookie swap or a Christmas, whatever, or, like
Chili.
we can
stuff,
choose
yeah.
to have something on one of our general membership meeting nights, or we could choose to have something on a board meeting night that's more of a fun thing at the church, whatever. All those things are possible.
I saw one neighborhood advertise that they have a picnic.
Yeah.
Is it once a night or something?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's pretty typical of 5 neighborhoods that I can think of. Is they have an annual picnic, but that's not really meeting, that's a picnic.
Right.
But in addition to the
that's-
meetings.
But that's the fun part that Dawn's talking about, is something so that people can meet each other and do something other than.
It's hard to predict. Sometimes people come to us like Reed Dunbar or somebody says, I'm ready to talk about transportation. And so we can't say, well, we've got our schedule full until for the next 6 months. It's kind of hard to predict these kind of things coming in.
Could we reach out to those folks, like Reed, and say, what do you have coming? So that rather than us being on the end of, can say, I have something,
I don't know.
we ask him what he's thinking about.
Well,
so
we
can fit it in.
asked him and Logan this last time, like they didn't come to us, we went to them and said, hey, there are these things going on in our neighborhood. Come and talk about it. So I think, if we're only planning out 2 or 3 meetings, I don't think that it's unrealistic to do that and then not have a lot of extra space, right? I think if they have a short thing, we can fit somebody in, no problem, we'll make 15 minutes available. But if they need an hour, then I think most other organizations actually have planned their meetings. Or
Do we want to have, you kind of suggested one of your emails of having a co-meeting with like the River Road Community Organization. I think that sounds good. Or even having something on the website where we invite people to come in with their topics and invite presenters to come in there. At least as we don't okay right away, but it's something to give us some idea on that. I don't know how much traffic we get on the website for that.
Little iffy in terms of scheduling because River Road meets the second Monday of each month. We meet the first Thursday of each month.
we have done co-join events and we can do, they have a new dynamic in that their free space is no longer free to them.
Right.
Now, all the places in their neighborhood charge them to meet. So that's new for them because they would have a general meeting every month and a board meeting every month because it was free and they could do that and they had the bandwidth for it. And now they're
Emerald Park is
thinking.
said,
Would a meeting, because I agree with Scott that I think a joint meeting with River Road periodically, twice a year, or once a year, or whatever, just to say, hey, we work closely together. What's going on in both jurisdictions, I think would be important. Is it something that we could do, have our meeting and attend their meeting in the same month? I know that's 2 weeks.
I almost think that's a board to board meeting rather than a membership, than shared membership meetings. I think it'd be more
Yeah.
valuable if
Yeah.
our board met with their board.
What are you guys doing?
Well, you know,
Yeah.
they, just like our meetings are available, their meetings are available. Any of you can attend their board meeting or their general meeting and participate.
Find out what's going on with that. Yeah,
You can show up or you can do it from the comfort of your own home.
right.
And so I do periodically attend their meetings, and I do, Claire Strawn on their board, and I am on their email list. So when they have events, I can ask for our people to put it out. And when we have events, I can send it to her to put it in her newsletters. But, and then we do need to, you know, when we get to the topic of the neighborhood plan implementation, which is on our agenda tonight, we need to create a committee together. And yes, we will have some stuff separate for our neighborhood and their neighborhood, but I think a lot of this is also priorities we can make together. And they've reached out to us and asked us, and the only person who's volunteered to be on the committee so far is Scott. So, we could work that way, and I think that would help us, dovetail more with what they're up to.
Do we have any, you know, I've noticed in my short time on the board that certain meetings have a ton of people coming into them, and certain meetings are not quite so much.
Uh-huh.
So do we have it like a general over the last several years, what type of meetings? Is it the homeless ones? Obviously, we got a couple big groups for that.
Annexation.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Increase our membership, we could just start having meetings about annexation.
Or LTD.
Or the bridge over the Willamette, or, you know, those things. Those are all hot, but, you know, anything that gets people's nippers in a wad is gonna get them to a meeting.
But that's not exactly the meetings we want to have, so.
Well, we do need to have
We
those.
need to have
Uh-huh.
those.
But maybe not at every meeting.
Some,
Yeah.
yeah, some, but it's not,
Uh-huh.
some do recruiting.
So one controversial meeting at least every year.
How many are we talking about? Because I'm hearing that SJC is doing one a quarter.
Well, 1 1/4 is 4, right?
And we have.
And we only have 8 general meetings a year, so it's at this point.
So we're talking about four meetings that we need to fill,
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and their space.
although it's not like the SJC topic is the whole meeting.
Right. So we,
So I'm saying, is it a guest that you're bringing in typically, which you have, which has been great?
But it doesn't, it'll be anywhere from, 45 minutes to an hour of the meeting, but it won't be the whole meeting.
Yeah, they've been really good.
I think if it's just 4, and if we don't get the traction for subcommittee for meeting topics, that we can just start like an email thread amongst us, like the next general meeting is now 3 months out.
Mhm,
Go, everyone comes up with at least one idea,
mhm.
and we can vote and say what we think is good out of
I
those.
think that's
That's
great.
that's a good suggestion.
And even having, I do Boy Scouts, and so we're always thinking about where to go camping the next month. We try to go every month, and I have years and years of camp out. So the first thing I do is look at where we've already gone,
That's right.
and that's kind of my foundation. Of course, you want to do new stuff, right? So,
Maybe I want to be in your group instead.
camping.
Maybe we should have a general membership camp out
Oh, my
where
God.
everybody sleeps outside in the park.
I think we might be arrested.
Point will be to get arrested so we can be in the paper about talking about.
Oh,
Is it
I'll
illegal
bring her
to sleep
tents to the
here?
LTD lot.
Tell Scott. One thing that this makes me think of too is I know we talk about some of those hot button issues as having better attendance and passion. And part of what we do is allow space for voice for the community. And some of those issues I think are really important that we have them, even though emotions are high and opinions differ in my crucial conversations training, but I think they're really, really good to have. And if we're not doing some of those, that's where we get a lot of the pushback on, you
We're
don't
not
really
represented.
represent. Yeah, we don't really
Right,
represent.
right.
So it's something to,
Yeah.
Well, how do we put the finger on active topics that are current? You know, even on a small scale. So like in the summertime, you know, what are people's buttons that are being, well, people are littering or people are making noise or having parties. So, you know, I'm not saying those are things. I'm
finances
saying-
is always, when it impacts somebody's finances or impacts their children. And that's why I think, you know, asking when you have littles, like some of us feel so removed from that. I don't yet have grandkids. And my kids are grown, but knowing, Matt, what's important to you for school? And that's why I'm thrilled that we're having a conversation with the new principal at North, because
Yeah.
these have been, school board issues have been issues for the last several years. And
School
they
board's a
are,
good presentation.
I'm not sure we want this school.
No,
board
not the whole school
meeting.
board, but a representative.
but I think
Come and talk.
where parents have an opportunity to ask questions respectfully. Not everybody gets to a school board meeting, but to say, you know, my kid is attending this school, or my kid might attend this school. What's the vision?
I think that'd be
I
great.
have some concerns, so.
Well, if there, isn't that what the school board meeting is for? What makes our meeting a better place to talk about?
Well, I'm just thinking back, I think 2 years now, when one of the issues with one of the groups of people that were attending often, one of the things, the side conversations that would come up about their concerns would be, and schools. And it was very passionate. It really wasn't what we were doing, but maybe we can figure out, you know, how do you have maybe those.
In schools, meaning what? Like, can we talk about schools? Can we talk about what's going on in our schools?
It was more concern over what was going wrong in schools and the direction that leadership was taking. And because I'm removed from that and I don't have kids, I did, but it's been a while. It would be nice to say to our Santa Clara community, you know, maybe we put out, who brought up the questionnaire? Didn't somebody bring up a questionnaire
Yeah.
at the Games in the Park, maybe? To have like what do people in Santa Clara feel about these 10 issues? And just get some feedback. And if there are 3 that people are like, or, you know, then maybe we that's what we
With plenty of empty lines for them to put in their own issues.
right. Oh yeah. Yeah, not just yes or no or
Well, if we're coming up with the issues, then we're not really
Uh-huh.
getting.
yeah, what else
drawing
would you
them
like
into
to what
it.
else would you like to talk about?
I think the school board issue, Don, to your point is, you know, going to a school board or even PTO meeting can be intimidating. There's a lot of people that is very official. Our meeting is a little bit more, you know, open. You can ask questions that you might not ask at these other ones. And plus, we're so centrally located at the church, I think. I don't know.
So it's a place where someone gets to attend maybe by school board meeting. And also it's a different time of day, you know, it's a different time slot. So maybe for some reason they can't go to school board meetings. So this is another
A
opportunity. to talk about schools.
little problematic with 3 different school districts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. yes.
which actually might be
So-
good. You could have 3 different school, you know, 3 different
Yeah.
principals
I
or
have a
representatives.
thought, or I lose it. How about a topic where someone comes in and describes how to present to a school board or to give testimony in a public meeting, and just the mechanics of that and how to make yourself not be so freaked out about it. You know, there's got to be some consultants around that.
Well, training in general would be kind
Yeah,
of
we
fun,
need
right?
consultant. I'd be happy.
Well,
to tell
yeah.
them how to
Well,
do
there you
that.
go.
Turn it on down.
That's a meeting.
I'd be happy to tell them how to make their voice heard.
One that I'd be interested in, I think the school one's great, is just a general infrastructure. I don't know if be it the park. That's the one that I heard about at the music festival. Was a lot of people were asking about what's going on with the park, and that there had been all this construction and now it died off. What's going on? And I didn't really know. So that's kind of, you know, at the forefront of infrastructure right now. I think that the intersection at Irving is at the forefront. So any kind of general infrastructure work that is going on, be it City of Eugene, traffic, parks, eWeb, Northwest Natural, just having like an infrastructure time.
Well, we can
Broadband?
invite Mark.
Broadband?
Broadband,
Mhm.
yeah.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Well, so we've addressed the Irving Hunsaker with our last meeting, theoretically.
Great job, by the way.
So,
And every time
Back into that.
we go through that intersection, like, okay, he said 18 months at the meeting, didn't he? Before that's gonna be done?
Well, are they gonna have one lane for 18 months?
I
Probably
have
not.
no
I don't
idea.
think, I don't
But
think
the
they will
project
make it.
wasn't being done for 18 months with that in itself is just mind boggling,
It would be,
considering how long it's been in that condition.
maybe one of the questions we answer is, how long will that be, that those two lanes be one lane? What's the projection? Just to put out in the newsletter for people, because I have heard so many people complaining. I mean, it's,
maybe that's something we could start having on our website, like questions we've heard. And then we try to find the answer instead of creating a whole meeting around it.
Yeah.
Like we can just
right.
have those as like rolling things on the website so people can go like, I wonder what. And then there could be also a place like question I'd like to ask. So then, and that wouldn't be on you to answer, but somehow just like you could send it to me and I could try to suss it out.
Or for
You don't need more to do.
Or somebody, Matt, clearly Matt wants to.
I don't need more to do.
Website committee.
No, but I mean, I think that kind of thing is helpful to people.
Yes.
Like FAQ, but it
Yes.
would be more like RAQ, recently asked questions.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Good.
Because then those sort of like, and then if we get to a place where there's like a meeting coming up and it's going to be featured, there's the recently asked question to answer and then come hear more at blah, 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 right? We could
Come to our
just-
next infrastructure meeting.
is Tim the website guy? So are we asking him to
Well, I
do
don't know.
something?
I'm really not the content guy. I am the infrastructure guy.
So that's
So-
another thing we need to talk about
No,
because
it's
Gary
on the
Nowitzki
agenda.
just said November 1st, he's done.
Well, he said that several.
I know,
Well,
but
He's
sometimes
not good about.
Sometimes he means it.
Sometimes he means it because he's no longer
He
the.
wants to be there. He certainly wants to.
so
And I've been helping them, so I, people do send me some stuff, and I'm not gonna send it out, it's somebody to post.
Yeah.
I will post it, but I don't want to be kind of responsible for getting stuff posted in a timely manner, because I just can't do that. But certainly we'll train everybody who had to log in, that will post. And several people would be great.
I'm okay, thank you. Sir.
does anybody want to be the website poster or one of the website post people?
That's not my smart one.
It's not mine either. So maybe we need to reach out a little farther then and see if we can find somebody.
Yeah, Tim, I can help. I mean, if you're willing to sit down and show me what you want me to do.
It's not really complicated.
WordPress site, right?
I'm sorry,
This is just a WordPress
it's just a
site.
WordPress site.
I'm happy to help with the,
The mechanics of it.
yeah.
Well.
I'm also not a content generator type person, but
Well, generally
yet.
what happens is stuff comes in and I field it because it often comes to me and then I send it to Holiski G at, and say for our web. And so oftentimes they have a graphics thing already.
Mhm.
Sometimes it needs a little bit of words to frame it, but,
He does it website, Facebook.
I don't know all those things.
Yeah.
So,
It's multiple.
does it, I know
Platforms.
WordPress can automatically
The
post.
WordPress automatically pushes to Facebook.
Oh, I like
And
that.
Twitter is done on that. And so I don't do social media at all. So even though that both Santa Clara and Foundation presences hang off of my account, I don't participate in those. So in other words, I don't go directly there and place things. But when I post, Gary or I have posted things on the website, automatically gets pushed to, there's a checkbox. This is something you don't want to push there, then you uncheck the box. And it doesn't, it just stays on the website. And we have subscribers to the website, 300 or so, in addition to the Facebook subscribers. And so they automatically get the posting in their email, whether they're they've joined the Facebook group or not. So just information.
So are you tentatively okay being that guy? Like instead of to Gary Oliski starting in
Well,
November?
the three of us should get together and talk about it separately.
That would be great.
100%
We
happy
meet
to help
wherever
out
I can-
and tentatively okay being that guy. I prefer to help out rather than just being that guy.
And that's why I don't want to be that guy. So many things going on. And there's, oh, just Tim's the guy. So send it to Tim and he'll take care of it.
Well, I just
Yeah.
need somebody to be the guy to send it to. Then what happens amongst the group of people who are capable of doing that? Because
You're totally capable of doing it. You just refuse to.
She's got a little bit.
Yeah, she's got enough on her plate.
I'm not holding
And all of us
back.
do.
I never thought I'd see the day where Kate brought a laptop
Hey,
to a
don't go
meeting.
down that rabbit hole.
just say no. I'll say no for right
She's put a
now.
laptop quite a
I'm
few
so
times.
Yeah, just like years ago, like I remember when the laptop first started coming out, I was like, what? That's not.
How about that? Now I even have a cell phone.
Surprised it's not a
It does
pitchfork.
say it's from Maryland, and I don't know how to put my phone number in there or how to even record a message on it. But aside from that,
I could post it.
Might be a star.
If I can help you with that.
okay. So for now, we'll let Tim and Louie and Gary get together and suss out
It's good.
and stuff. And then if you
Well,
guys,
Gary, yeah.
if you guys think you need somebody else, we can reach out because there are other people in the neighborhood that are super techie people, and maybe they don't want to be parts of meetings or anything else, but maybe this is right up their alley and they would love to volunteer this way. So we can ask about that.
I'd
Well,
be
that's
willing to
the
help.
techie people aren't the ones you want to target
Oh, okay.
because they don't want to do content management.
Okay.
They want to do techie stuff. It's not techie stuff.
So we want somebody who likes words.
Jerry
Like
knows.
marketing.
Oh,
It's good for marketing people,
You want marketing?
social media people.
Right. That's a whole different breed of person.
Anybody that can do a social media post can do this.
I'll say that anytime I see a post from the Santa Clara community, I press like so that it generates engagement, so it shows up in other people's feed. Any engagement you can do with the posts helps it get more eyeballs.
There's this is kind of off the subject, but there was a neighborhood site, what's that called? But the neighbor,
Engage Eugene?
no,
Next door.
next door,
Oh,
next door.
Mhm.
Somebody posted something that I wasn't aware of all. And that was that there was something called the community response team. And she was became aware of it because they stopped by her house, said community response on their car. And some student had gotten off the bus and never made it home. And so they were tracking this student. They did find her, but there's something going on there that I didn't even know.
you mean it's like a police community response?
No, it is like
Community.
a community
Like neighborhood
service-
watch, like people who've gotten together and they call themselves the community
service
response?
thing, and I don't know if they're
That's the
actually
piece
work
I
out of
want.
the district or.
Because I've seen like an EPD version of
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
like the
It's-
community engagement team or whatever.
It's a
EPD.
Multiple functions, like neighborhood watch is kind of one of them. Like, I have a friend in the River Road neighborhood who had people like walking down their street shooting at a truck, and they posted their Ring camera footage, and it got involvement from the.
Right?
Huh?
Was it on Beacon?
No, it was close to Emerald Park.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Horn
This
Lane
was
Lake
like
Drive.
6 months ago. Something like that.
Who has stuff on the side of their vehicles that's driving around?
That's
And
the part
that I
that's
don't
I don't-
odd to me, like.
Yeah,
But
Yeah, that's.
I'm not going and getting a magnet and throwing it on the side of my truck.
Right. It'd be good, it would be good to.
Yeah, it'd be good to find out who they are.
Yeah, I don't know who we asked.
Parking
The
commercial
school
spots.
district should know because they would be the ones that would be contacted by whoever's students that
Maybe
show up.
there's a question for.
like a
For
vigilante
Mr.
team.
Munoz.
It'd be fun.
So you saw this on Nextdoor recently or what?
Yeah, it was about 2 days ago.
Uh-huh. So does somebody else look on Nextdoor? Because we could go see who
I do.
posted it or what.
Occasionally.
We used to.
It's like, Not from
Yeah.
here.
Oh,
Okay.
it's just toxic noise.
Well, this,
Yeah,
this
that's-
was right down everything, so I pay attention.
Yeah.
Suck me in.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
it's good to
plenty-
know who's
plenty
the
of
class.
things.
Okay. So we've kind of discussed social media. Is there more around outreach and social media, or that, you had brought up wanting to talk about, you, Jerry, more? All the different ways we reach out and ways we can improve.
Well, the part of it was just generated from a couple of questions as is how does this work, how does that work, does what? So I think that's what the topic was just who in the group is responsible for each of the parts of communication. And so that something that should go to Tim doesn't go to you, or something that should come to me doesn't go to
Okay,
really,
well,
that kind of thing.
why don't we run through that so everyone's on the same page?
And so my comment there is it's important to have a little bit of a hierarchy. So the president of the board, you would be the one to say approve something that is potentially questionable. Some things like emergency response meetings, things like that, then they can just come through. If they come through you, then you pass them on. If they come directly to me, I'll just put, because I can kind of decide whether it should just get posted and not worry about it. But there could be contentious things. And certainly we've had some comments on postings on the WordPress site that maybe I generally tend to approve them all at the just the idea of having free speech,
Well, you mean
but some
people
have been
wanting
pretty-
to post a comment about something
Well, people
that's.
post a comment and then it sits unapproved until someone
Oh.
approves it.
Oh, I see.
And I generally approve them, even though I not maybe agree. If it's something certainly toxic, then I wouldn't. But generally I do, and then those are visible to everyone on the site. So things like that we might need a person to say, yes, that's okay.
Sort.
And
The sort
go
of-
ahead and approve that so that it can be seen by everybody.
Okay.
But we don't want to be accused of limiting
Censoring.
people's speech.
Right.
So
I was gonna ask,
that's what I'm doing.
what is the criteria that we would have to not approve something? Because it will be asked at some
Well,
point,
that
like,
would
why
be-
are you not?
That would be this group to decide.
Oh, well, I think we can probably find some stock language, like hate speech, discrimination, misogyny, like all the different ways to
Somebody's already.
buy it.
Well, our statement, we'll just read our statement.
Yeah, okay.
Like all those different things would make something ineligible to be
Okay.
posted. Right. And if it's just a difference of opinion, like what,
Yeah.
post
Right.
it, if
Right.
there's as many opinions as there are individuals.
So we should avoid the political opinions.
Uh-huh.
Well, but if it's comes from a post that
If
someone
the
else
post is-
makes,
is-
it's not it's not from
Well, it's
us.
not-
Well, you.
Somebody
I
isn't
could-
gonna we're not gonna make a post on the SCCO site that isn't approved or obviously appropriate posting. But we would approve or disapprove comments against that or for
Yeah,
or
then
against.
people go down, people start ranting about something they're mad about. Well,
This is just another example of the,
Well, I could see, like, we
Read out
could
notes
put
and I'll-
something about
So-
infrastructure on the website. Sorry, you go. You have your hand up. I didn't even see it.
I was just wondering, is this a problem? Like, have we had big, long rants going on the website multiple times?
No, we've had some things that,
Seems
you
like
know,
if you're
a little
filtering
more
them, and-
toxic might be a little problematic. But so far we haven't. We've just had some small diatribes, and
seems like if they're questionable, you could ask Kate or even just do like the board, email to the board. Unless I hear otherwise, this is going on the website in one day.
if it's contentious.
Yeah.
If it actually contributes to a conversation, then I'm all for it.
But yeah, if it
And
like,
so
if
I
it put
could-
your flag up of like, I don't know if this is right or not, then,
Right.
and you couldn't get a hold of Kate, then you could just, if you're looking for like a methodology of how to approve and not approve. or whoever's going to be posting to
I'm gonna have
the
to
site.
put on a sorting hat, because before I would just send everything to Gary and let him pick and choose. And sometimes he'd send stuff back to me and like, yeah, we're not
So-
putting this stuff on
So
there.
the general rule that Gary goes by is
Uh-huh.
if it's not directly related or involving Santa Clara in the geographical
Uh-huh.
area or of serious public interest, they'll get posted.
Uh-huh.
And there's been some that would have been potentially good posts, like an event or something, but if it's not Santa Clara,
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's been his filter, and that's a good one,
Yeah,
because
it's a good one.
otherwise, everybody and their uncle's gonna be sending us their
Uh-huh.
church group things and their,
Uh-huh.
their,
Picnics and their.
And their
Yeah.
nail salon, and
That's
their all
right.
their things.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of web pages have administrators who monitor, now cut people off just because it can go down rabbit holes that you still really need to be.
Okay.
there's plenty of social media for that. We don't need to do it on our site.
Everybody, the head nods, yes?
What are we agreeing to?
Yeah. what do we
Yeah,
do?
just like basic structure, like we're talking about.
So you're agreeing to what Gary is doing right now.
Basically,
If it isn't related to Santa Clara, it doesn't get posted.
Specifically related to the geographic area of Santa Clara and our community standards agreement. Means both of those, it's okay.
Fair, that we have that developed. but-
Generally, if it makes you go like this, then ask somebody else.
Right.
If it
On
makes you-
Santa Clara or matters
It's not
affecting
like we
Santa
have a
Clara, because you
huge-
think about the things that he's posting about transportation, that kind of stuff. The things that affect Santa Clara is the ones he posts to.
That's right, and that, like a DOT post on the roundabouts coming in division, that's gonna be all the website.
Yep.
So, and that, I mean, it is in Santa Clara, but do we want to, like one thing that would have been questionable is the navigation center. Because it's technically not in Santa Clara, but the neighborhood was being asked to sign that agreement, and so that made it, permanent. So that would, it did.
It wasn't just that it was physically not in Santa Clara, but it actually, this was its part of its.
Yes, we were being asked to participate in that project.
And that's, in that regard, neighborhood plan includes Santa Clara, Red River Road, so things that affect the neighborhood plan.
That'd be good.
Well, that's a good segue into the
Well,
neighborhood.
and really, that's, well, just to finish
Yeah.
off, that was the posting part.
Mhm.
And we started talking about the comment part.
Okay.
So when a post gets posted, comments are open. So people can click on it, or there's a little form right there at the bottom of the post, when you go to the website. And you can put in your 2 cents. And so those are the things that can go off the rails pretty quickly, especially if a couple people start interacting with each other. And then it's like, no, free for all.
Yeah.
And we want to encourage more information like that on the website. Right now, it's not a huge deal. It's pretty easy to pick and choose which things are appropriate. But if we get a lot more activity there and start getting some real discussion, then it may become an issue that we'll have to make some decisions. And so that would be us.
My comment.
If it's the 3 of us, it would start with the 3 of us, and what do you guys think about this? And then all 3 of us would have permission to go and approve that. And so whoever gets to it first and thinks it's fine, we just click the link and get it approved. If not, then we discuss it and we say, well, let's throw this before the board.
I was just gonna say, my response would be, if it goes back and forth enough, an admin to say, hey, if it's important enough to take it to coffee together, please do so.
Mhm.
I think that
Call Terry, she'll have them.
That would be
No.
your comment.
it probably would be. So, okay.
But do not post any personally identifiable information, whether your phone number or email, anywhere on the internet, any way, shape, or form. So that's just my advice to you.
All right. Okay, so do we feel confident about communications methodology, so up to date? everybody clear on what we're doing and how we're doing it?
Gary, were there more pieces? Because this started with you wanting to know what came from where and who does what.
That was basically it.
Okay.
It was just, I think Jerry was pretty succinct about it. He replied to everyone about what's going on, but it was just sort of like, so who was responsible for certain things.
And I just wanted to be clear when Gary said, when a person is signed up for the listserv, there are no ads.
There's no.
Because I was asked specifically,
Right.
a person saying, hey, am I
And
gonna get
that's
sucked into?
part of what prompted that
Yeah.
email was.
Mhm.
And Alyssa, to have ads, basically, actually, somebody pays you for an ad or you sell your list, and we don't share or sell our list.
Okay, okay. I think it's good to have that
I think that's,
public so that people know.
We've never tried to check how my list compares with your list.
We never even have done that. And in my case, I don't even know who's on our list. I can't get the list because it's managed by sort of a plugin
Oh,
that lets people unsubscribe. So if they put their email address in the little form and they get on the list. So any post that goes to the website goes to their email. And when, just like any, like iContact or Constant Contact, there's an unsubscribe button on there.
And this
So
is for
they
the
just click
foundation?
that and it automatically,
No, that's the
This is
website.
SCCO.
Oh, it's the SCCO.
Yeah.
Okay.
so they get taken off the list. And so I don't really,
Same as eye contact, I get one or two that
uh-huh.
kind of.
I'm tired of getting this.
Guys, I don't want to see more. Yeah,
But in your case, you have the list.
You-
and
yes,
you
I can
physically
see the
remove
list,
them.
yeah.
You don't have the list. That's managed by WordPress.
I'm pretty sure you
That's
can
true.
access it, but
Well,
you
well,
can't, and
no,
you can
I don't-
remove somebody, but you can't force them to join. They would get a link to confirm if you added somebody's email.
Yeah, but no.
Depends on the plugin.
I
the one
don't-
I've used.
It's Jetpack, so it's a service that actually I paid for. We should consider $99 a year, and it's going up. So at some point, we should consider what it gets paid for.
but it doesn't allow you to get that list at all.
I don't believe it does, because I could then download that list and sell it, and Jetpack would be responsible for, providing that list to me to sell without people's permission. So I can double check
Maybe.
again, but it's been a while since I looked. But when I originally, let me get that list because I want to go to Jerry and compare lists, right? And I couldn't get to it. So
So this brings up that other question where the city said they were gonna be providing hosting of what, do we wanna go that way? And if so, that would be you and talking to Julie, because I don't know anything about.
That would save you $99.
that would be up to the board to decide what they want to do. Isn't the city going to force people to do that?
I don't think they're
They
forcing
probably
anybody.
can't.
I think they're trying to help relieve the cost,
Right.
because we're all asking for money for these things and they see that the proceeds are dipping. And so how can they most efficiently provide the
How can
platform?
they continue to cut neighborhood services, is what you're saying?
On some
Because
level.
we've seen it happen
Mhm.
over the past 5, 7, 8
Yeah.
years.
But if we wanted to take the burden off.
That's fine, that's fine. And I'll
Or
be happy to be out of it.
So then it would just be somebody whose content people we'd still have that, or I don't even understand how. the
Well, what are
different
they,
things
I don't know what their platform is for hosting.
work. Okay, so, can I give you Julian's contact information and have you ask him where that's at? 'Cause-
Why don't you ask him?
Okay,
Because then he'll have to explain it to a person who is,
dummy dummy.
yeah, right.
Mhm. Hey,
And then you will understand it. And I won't be the guy anymore.
He'll have to explain it in English is a nicer way to say that.
on my list.
And-
Okay,
And it'll be useful for you to do that. And I can get together and you can tell me what he says. Or
Uh-huh.
we've been in the loop together before on different things, so
Uh-huh.
we can do that.
Uh-huh.
But I want him to see how well he explains it to you because he's telling everyone else the same thing.
uh-huh,
And I'd be curious what exactly they're telling them they're gonna provide.
uh-huh, okay. All right, well, good to know. I can't wait for that. Okay, so on to neighborhood plan implementation, because we're gonna need more than just Scott to follow up and help make sure that the neighborhood plan actually gets implemented. So the
The
city,
beauty of it was Scott wasn't here. We assigned it to Scott. Now we can just.
no, that was the NLC rep.
Oh,
He didn't- It's not really fair to give him the neighborhood plan when he wasn't involved in any of the plan of the neighborhood.
Fair
plan.
is
But he
not-
was celebrating his anniversary, so that's what he
It's
gets.
a neighborhood.
Mhm.
It's not
Just
just learn.
Right. No, I'm saying in addition to Scott, not, we don't want Scott, but there's gonna need to be more than, so can I just tell you, the, city, did their own little process and they sent out this thing that I forwarded to everybody, but probably everybody just put it in the round file.
I contributed.
Yeah, you were on the call, right, for sure,
Yeah.
you and Scott, but they said, when they put out their paper that says, now this is how we're going, the Office of Equity and Community Engagement will support the River Road and Santa Clara neighborhood representatives throughout plan implementation with these following activities. There are 4 bullets, please be patient. ECHI will develop a website for monitoring and sharing updates on plan implementations. Each action item can be tracked separately. EG will partner with the 2 neighborhood associations to conduct prioritization exercises online and at community events. EG will organize quarterly meetings with city staff. Staff from multiple departments will be invited according to progress on items assigned to them or demands for information from neighborhood representatives. And EG will issue annual reports on plan implementation. So that's what they're offering, is helping us to implement our plan. So basically, they're going to host a website and share updates. They're going to conduct prioritization exercises with us, both online and at events. What event? I don't really know. There's not any more clarity to that. They'll have quarterly meetings with city staff as required based on things they see coming up or things we demand, it says, and they'll issue annual reports. So it's not a lot of hand holding. It's going to take, I think, our 2 neighborhood associations to get together, really sift through, figure out some priorities, and then be loud about it and try to get those priorities addressed with assistance from them. And our priorities won't always align and be the same, but we expect that. We know that about our plan.
And so we should have our own prioritization list in Santa Clara.
Yeah, or it
We
at the,
could collaborate.
yeah, or
But
at
let's have
the,
our own too.
but at the table, so I guess then that begs the question, like, do we as a group want to sit around and read the plan together? I'd rather not do that as a group activity because there's 256 actions under 18 goals. I'd rather everybody look through their own copy and picked out what they think based on their experience in the neighborhood is what are some of the priorities, whether they're, they were categorized as short, medium, long-term, inexpensive, medium, very expensive, easy to do, medium to do, almost impossible to do. But I would say ignore that part and just look at the priorities and say, from what you know about your neighbors in your neighborhood, what are the important things? What's going to have the greatest impact? And then let's make those our priorities. And we can work together with River Road on I'm sure they'll do that too. And then we can get together and really mix and match. And let's see where we can get some traction. Oh, you were tired.
No, I'm just thinking that,
Small chunks.
with all due respect to Scott, I think Scott should get immersed in this, but I think it will require some of us who have already worked for years on the plan to also be involved to make sure that there's understanding about what
We're throwing him in the deep end of cement shoes.
Yeah, so I guess I'm volunteering myself, even though I hate to.
But I will
think
too.
it's-
And my recommendation is that we split it up into the pillars and have 2 people on each pillar. And the board, and we can bring anyone else who wants to be involved in the neighborhood. And then we take that pillar and we prioritize those actions most closely related to that.
So like the
And
top
then-
10, I don't think we have to go, there's probably like 72 land use actions. We probably don't have to
Under
make them
each
1 through 70.
Call.
So you're saying land use, you can say
Yes.
color, you mean
Uh-huh.
land use.
He means the 5 topic areas.
Right.
Oh, I thought you meant you guys. I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
No.
thank you for
Yeah,
the
the pillars, the
clarification.
pillars
I'm
of the
like, the
community.
pillars,
Well,
okay.
definitely. And so
Not
that,
support for land use.
that pairs it down,
Uh-huh.
so that a pair of people can go through them
Uh-huh.
and just do a quick down and dirty sorting of what they think the priorities are. And then each of those can come then to the group, and we could take each subcommittee's, report and go through it. And, maybe we want to take a whole pillar and say, this is our transportation is our priority. And we seem to have the ball rolling right now. So transportation would be a good thing to focus on probably first. Right? I don't know. I'm just saying
I don't know
that might be a conclusion that we come to.
I'm just wondering on the process of this. So once something has been identified as a top, is the expectation then that the River Road and Santa Clara community organizations would directly contact like planning and development and say, here is our priority and here's our watchdog in the city that's going to make sure that you do this?
No, I think there's a lot of action items actually that are not implemented by the city or the county. They're implemented by neighbors or neighbors in partnership with nonprofits or other organizations. So it totally depends on what the item is.
Can you
Actually,
give an example, Kate?
well, let's see, we talked about having basically a neighborhood welcome wagon that goes around and, helps, or figuring out what privately owned property is being used as habitat corridors to connect for our waterways, and how do we express to that resident that this is a value to the entire neighborhood, and how can we help support them in keeping that way? Or, there's all sorts of action items that really aren't city related, but it's just it's going to be a sticky wicket for sure. But if we divide up the 5 topic areas and come up with the top 10 priorities in each topic area and then share those back to each other by email, I mean, that's not a very long process.
Right.
That
That's what I
gets us
think. That's my
started.
goal is to get.
And then if
Then
there's,
we have 50 priorities.
well,
So top 5, top 10, in each of 5.
yeah, and then that would get us started just looking at them, and then we could have a discussion about those.
Got it.
Like, we're not gonna try to implement 50 priorities,
Yeah.
but there might be some that are low hanging fruit and some that are not. And there might be some that are shared by River Road, and that gives us more oomph behind certain
Right.
priorities. And so working together, we have found to be more successful than working separately in general,
Right.
not exclusively, but so I think if we, and you know what I can do? I can quickly, I'll email Beth tonight. Beth Girl, who's on that board, who's been asking me for 2 months about, can we get together and discuss how we're gonna do this, the 2 of us together, the 2 organizations together? And then see if, if we start out in that way, if they have an idea how they wanna start, and then we get
Yeah, I think
together.
that we'll have a team and they have a team and we have to get these teams together, right?
Yeah, I think so, but instead of a small team trying to go through all 256 action items, what Tim is saying, spreading it out amongst the
Right.
board makes more
Right.
sense. And then if there's
Just
an,
small chances on
so.
become a big. Wow.
Yeah,
Big smelly file.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I mean,
Well,
What do you think?
well, the thing is that I hadn't worked very much with transportation, for instance. And so if I were given transportation, the topic area, I would not represent what the people who did transportation was thinking.
Well, you would
We
pick-
don't
you
have
would
to
pick
choose
your-
that.
I would pick
Nobody's
my-
gonna assign it to you, Jerry.
Then you may not have areas being covered.
Well, I'm gonna be a sag wagon, so I'll pick
Me
up
too.
whatever other
Okay.
people don't
Okay.
do. But, if you feel totally ill-equipped to deal with a certain topic area, don't do that topic area. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, we want people to pick the ones that they're most interested in because it's a prioritization task. So, yeah.
And would this be another way to get community members involved?
Yeah.
Those people who,
Me too.
Well, we have that working groups list, right? So if you know somebody from your working group, whoever was involved, like, I can pick out some people from, the Parks and Natural Resources, because that's the working group I worked with. But I'm sure every one of those working groups had people from our neighborhood, and there might be people who are interested in helping make that happen.
Is that a CAC working group? Is that what you mean?
No,
No.
there was working like 65 70 residents who each they
that's right.
volunteered for
Early on.
writing the
Yep.
policies for each of the different
Yep.
topic areas.
Right.
So we have to, okay, let me talk to neighborhood planning, see if we can get the working group email list. I think I might have it from 8
Way
years.
back.
Mhm. But I don't know if it's sorted by who
By
was in
neighborhood.
what group. No, like it might just be one great big email file
All
to
the people.
all the working group members.
Oh, so there was nothing, like spreadsheet that had what topic.
I'm
they
sure
were-
they have that at the city, but every once in a while when I ask, like, I need to email to all these hoo-has, then they would give me like, forward this at, and
A group, a
so,
big group.
yeah.
Yeah, they've got to have something that said who was on which.
I was involved in a couple of that might have mailbox that has the correspondence that would have the people in our group.
Right.
I think it was transportation and land use is what I was on.
Uh-huh.
So, and who knows what, whatever happened to Ann? Did she move out?
And Vaughn,
Yeah.
she
Yes, she
moved to
moved.
Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
Really?
Yeah. Back near her brother and family. Yeah. Okay, so so do we agree like that's a way to get started on trying to prioritize things?
It's a start. I think we probably will revise the way we approach it as we get together. But yeah.
Okay, so let's divide up now, because then you can get started looking at the action items. So there is land use, transportation, community, economic development, and parks and natural resources.
That's me.
That's Jerry M. And Jerry F, you want community?
Yeah.
Or economic development.
And Tim wants economic development. And Terry, do you care for something in particular?
Do I feel qualified to, because we're talking about, I could be on a team with someone, right?
Yeah, you don't, not all by yourself.
Probably community.
I
Thank
was
you.
thinking-
I mean, I'm like,
That's
that's
what
kind
she
of.
John Leslie, what were you?
Although transportation is interesting.
Okay.
since I-
Oh, transportation.
And Matt
Transportation.
and Lulu?
Well, I don't, I've heard a lot of people say transportation.
Stu? I'd do land
There's-
use if you want transportation.
There's
I
five, there's 9
specifically
buses,
don't
there's-
want land use.
Don't want land use.
Fine.
Matt, can I move you there then? Okay, so Lou, you want transportation?
Yeah, I think during the process it was between that and community, I think.
Okay, well, community already has 2 people, so can I give you transportation with Dawn?
Sure.
Okay, and then Scott, what's your passion? Doesn't matter. Get to pick anything you want.
About parks.
Okay, so you and Jerry Moore. Got it.
Could you send me that list when,
Coming to you.
okay.
Kate, I assume you're on land use too?
I'll be on whatever needs a person, so yes, I'll do that
We
with
don't
you.
have enough to, there's only
Well,
9 of us, right? So there's only.
Right, so
2 each.
land use needs an extra and economic development, so I can do 2. I can do land use with you and economic development with you.
So you're doing economic development as well?
Yeah, I'm just wherever there's only one person, I'll do it.
Land use, you had Matt, and who else?
Land use is
Me.
me and Kate.
Okay,
Nah,
transportation is Don and Louis. Community is me and Terry.
What else was on our agenda for tonight? We having a hard time remembering. I'm trying to get, that's minutes.
Yeah,
I
agenda,
could just go to my
neighborhood
sent mail, because I've sent what I wanted to talk about.
Parks, Parks naturally.
I must have missed it because I saw the minutes, but I don't feel like I saw an agenda.
I don't think he put out an agenda and I didn't put out an agenda, so I was.
Well, you
thinking-
sent me something that was really kind of general, but I can't remember.
I said neighborhood plan implementation. We need folks to work with River Road and the city to identify priorities. I said SCCO communications, modes, limitations, ideas for improvement, and program organization for general meetings. We need to be more proactive in deciding what topics we want to cover and share the responsibility for making it happen.
Did we settle on that? Or
Uh,
just gonna be like a meeting or an email that went out a few months in advance of the meeting?
well, we're there now because we have our October meeting with the principal, although he does reserve the right to pull out once he meets with me in late September. It's a very weird process, but
That's what he said?
that's what his secretary, he said to his secretary, he said to me. I said, well, if he doesn't come in October, we don't have space for him again until January. She said, no, it's not that he can't come in October. It's that he won't agree to come in October until he meets with you, and he can't meet with you until late in September. And I said, well, that doesn't work for us because we're trying to put out a postcard. Do you understand how that works? Like we have to mail that and then it gets, she said, okay. I said, put it on a schedule for October. I will schedule a meeting with him in late September. And if he pulls out, he pulls out. You know, like that's how that'll go. But,
But it's on the postcard, right?
I think she doesn't know how to explain what we are and what we do. So he doesn't know, like, who are
These people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this makes sense to come talk to them, yeah.
exactly. So anyway, I'm gonna go
I'm cool
sell
over
us.
here.
I'm gonna sell us to it in late
He'll
September.
do it, he'll, the
Uh,
minute he needs to, he'll absolutely wanna come.
He's
So-
a dynamic guy. He
Yeah?
really is.
Okay. Well, he lives in either Albany or Salem, so he doesn't like to do late night stuff
Yeah.
if he doesn't have to. But evidently, so we have October and November done. December is a board meeting. Unless we want to make it like a celebratory community thing, and we could decide to do that, but we haven't put that out there. And then January is our next general meeting, so we need to figure out, yes.
I'm trying to put together something around Habitat Haven, speaking of natural resources.
Mhm.
Fine, yeah.
And so, I've talked to the coordinator and she's, from, Lake County Audubon.
Mhm.
And so, and I've got another person who works, or works part-time out at Beaufort. I'm trying to get, another nursery person, the Doug Creek Nursery, because what I'd like to put together is something that says, what is habitat? Why is it important?
How do you do it?
How do you do it? And what are your resources?
Uh-huh. Oh, neat.
So that way, it's like, you don't just say, here's something you can do, and like, how do I do this?
Right.
I want it to be
The full package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do.
So.
And you
yeah,
think that'll
so
be
what-
January or February?
No, February would be would be our election, right?
Theoretically, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Theoretically, yeah. So you're thinking January for, and what would you call
That'd be a
this?
good time to do it.
Yeah. What do we call it?
Backyard habitat, not backyard, but
And habitat.
We have time to figure out the
what's,
name.
what's on the sign?
It says Habitat Haven.
Habitat,
And it's for-
Habitat Havens.
Yeah, it's.
How to
for-
make
for
your yard a
pollinators.
habitat haven.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's, attracting pollinators and birds and, using native plants, so we'll come up with that.
Catchy.
And,
Yeah.
well, and you talked about the corridors. And so that could be.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. That's why it's important that people do this. That there is a connectivity between habitats.
Mhm.
And we can get people in neighborhoods. And I was just talking to Alan the other day because I see him every week. He's one of the people working with this. I can't remember his last name off the top of my head at the moment. But anyway, it was like, I have to see where people are doing this. And I'm thinking we could get somebody to map where these are and get people interested in mapping their habitats. And we could see if it's corridors.
Uh-huh.
Where they're missing.
Pretty cool. Then we could recruit homeowners.
Yeah.
That's right.
That
And then we can
missing
apply
gaps.
for grants so that we can fund the homeowners to do the stuff that we want
You are
through the
ambitious.
foundation.
Yeah. And then maybe we can talk the city into developing parks so that they become part of this corridor. That's
Yeah,
where my brain goes.
nice. I like that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Nope.
One modification to a suggestion I had earlier about the email to, I think that this actually worked really well, where if maybe it just as a standing, board meeting only to say, come with ideas ready for the next 2 or 3 meetings.
Uh-huh,
Cause I thought this was pretty cool for everyone just to discuss it. That'll probably get a little bit lost in an email.
uh-huh,
So I think if that was a standing thing, that would be a suggestion.
uh-huh.
Keep it in the
Mhm.
back front of your mind and
Yeah.
go through your day. Oh, that'd be a good topic to know.
So I don't think that our election meeting precludes us having a program, because generally our elections are brief.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll have 50 people who all want to serve and have to get up and sell themselves, but it's unlikely. So we should plan for a program in February as well.
Well, for December, I had an idea. SCCO's SJC got involved with supporting Aubrey Park Elementary around Thanksgiving and Christmas with food bags and boxes. And it was fun, and it's great to support those local families who have this 2-week stretch, especially at Christmas, where kids are able to eat breakfast and lunch at school, and then they don't for 2 to 3 weeks. I think last year was 3 weeks. So it might be something that we have a Christmas, mixer where people get together, but the premise is we get together
Or
and we bring
giving.
our canned goods and our
Giving.
stuff. Yeah, it's a service project. So that might be something that would be kind of fun and engaging again.
And the SCCO sponsored service project is good.
Mhm.
That might
It
be
really
good
doesn't
people.
take that
Good idea.
much.
No, doesn't take that
To-
much. I would call it winter break. I'd rather we didn't brand it with the word
Did I say
Christmas.
Christmas?
But maybe it's winter break and
Holiday
Uh-huh.
break.
a holiday break or something.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah,
more inclusive. But yeah,
Sure.
I think that's a good idea.
Thank you for that. I agree.
So I'm a little fuzzy about, so the food that you were collecting was for the schools?
Some of the families reached out. It was coordinated through someone at St. Matt's who works at the school and had access to families who said, yes, I could use some help right now.
So what does it look like? I mean, what would we physically be doing?
We would be, what did we do?
We would have big tables set up, and then there's like
Pre-bag.
prepackaged food. There's food and bags, and you just have an assembly line to
So build
assemble.
a bag.
Yeah,
basically.
build a
Mhm. And then we have the food and drink over on the side and people can mingle. It doesn't have to be just a work party.
Right, so Andy said that St. Matt's puts it together.
Well, St. Matt's figures out. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
St. Matt's we don't know who it's called. We don't have. It's private
It's
information.
anonymous.
It's anonymous who the people are.
Mhm.
So St. Matt's has the connection through the school of who's going to get these.
Mm.
And then, but we just did the work of making the bags, and then you delivered those bags to St. Matt's.
No, delivered it to the school.
To the school, that's right, that's right. So the families can come to the school at the last day of school or whatever and pick up.
Are these schools in Santa Clara, what schools are they?
It was.
It was Aubrey Park.
Just Aubrey Park.
Yeah, and it's all, St. Matt's was doing their own thing and we just said, hey, do you want partnership? And they were like, yes, because they could do so many and there were more than was needed.
So we're wondering, it's like, are we bringing our own foodstuffs or is there like, the county bringing food or what?
We actually brought our own, so people could, my brainstorm here is people can donate to the website, have a fund. There could be those of us who go shopping for the stuff, but the get together would be community members coming, getting to know each other, building a bag, having a little bit of food, getting to know us, getting to know each other. And then we deliver that, the next couple of days.
How much money you spend?
Oh, gosh. St. Matt's had someone at the school donated turkeys because it was Thanksgiving and Christmas. I think Christmas, maybe $450 maybe. And it was quite a bit. I mean, it's amazing.
People were free to donate food and canned goods and
Yeah.
everything too.
Yeah.
I don't know about
It's-
delivering food and canned goods gets a little tricky because
We can still do it? Well, December is scheduled for a board meeting.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
But what we were talking about doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to,
a
it
board
could be just a project meeting.
It could conceivably be, or it could be in addition to a board meeting, like this service project might not actually happen on the first Thursday
That's
of
true.
December, so we could have our board meeting, and maybe it's just like getting us all excited to go do the service project, or figuring
That's
out
good.
all the other programs. Mhm.
December.
Yeah. So maybe we're gonna add it to our schedule as an add-on.
Yeah,
And
I'd
if
be happy to work on that.
Okay, perfect. Are people okay with that, if that's added on as well as the board meeting in December?
I see it as a community project, as
Yeah.
a service project from the board, sort of like a lot of different organizations do service projects.
Yeah.
And it gets them,
We would have to choose
Well,
a different date in
We
December.
want the promotion.
What's that?
We'd have to choose a different date in December, right?
You mean other than the first Thursday?
It would probably be something the second week. And the one thing I would want to be careful about is, and I mean, not that there are names of families, but this is a sensitive issue. People don't want, you know,
It's to be known.
it to be known.
it's not that we're doing it for specific people, it's like, here's the other.
Here's
I
a
don't want to know.
clear and
Exactly.
apparent need, and we want to help fill it.
What we might be able to do is use, I can ask St. Matt's if we can use their space, if we're all gonna be doing it. It's a pretty easy place. I know that they are, Mother Laney is actually gonna be moving to Arizona, so they're taking on a new.
Another
Yeah,
mothership.
yeah, so, they're in a little bit of a transition, but they seem to be doing really well. And I think if we reach out and say, hey, we'd like to help, whatever you're getting involved with. You don't have to
There might
reinvent
be
the
a way
wheel.
to actually do it at the school too, if we need space to do it.
Oh. Yeah.
I can check that out.
Okay.
Or there's
But I
always
want my-
Jerry's studio,
True.
you know.
What's that?
Or we could just pull those cars out of the garage and use the garage.
And we can haul it all over there in the Miata or.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Christmas sleigh.
We'll do, yeah.
We'll make it a little red nose.
I took the Greyhounds.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Oh.
Someone talked, it was telling me this morning about a guy who had an MG and a Great Dane. Next to him with the MG.
I like that.
Yeah.
Have goggles on, like, great.
I like to try some of Kate's stuff there.
So, we've gotten
I
through
need to see
all the
some ID.
things on the agenda I suggested. Are there other things people want to address? Are there any things you're hearing about or meeting?
One of the people at the Ruby Park asked if there's been any more traction on the pedestrian bridge over Beltline. They said I wasn't aware of any.
They're
Thought it
still
was
looking
waiting
for
on
money, I think.
Thought it was waiting on funding, but I said I'd ask.
Where do they want to put that?
That's a question.
That's a good question.
That's the argument. So right now, one of the viable options is basically from Ruby neighborhoods over into like Silver Lee and, yeah.
But that's the expensive route. They'd have to buy a whole bunch of houses and stuff.
He was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, I've been wondering if I'm gonna get an offer or something.
Yeah,
And I was like,
that would be,
And we don't really want to reduce housing.
no,
Increase.
we don't.
Okay.
Safety, housing, and the kind of.
That was just a question that.
Yeah, no more information yet. That was another.
They were doing work on it though, like they were starting the pre-planning process. Did they just put the cart a little bit before the horse?
Well, I
and
think
not have
that Peter DeFave, before he left, secured like $8 million, but it's like, back then it was a $16 million project. And so now it's probably like a 26 million, who
There's a
knows?
good chance they have to do a whole lot of
Environmental impact, safety.
everything before they actually ask for the
Sure.
money.
And just engineering.
Well, and some of the neighbors, in the Silver Lee area were saying, you know, bikes on sidewalks and the extra traffic was really concerning. I talked to, an elderly woman who's lived there, who's actually a neighbor of mine back when the kids were grown up, and she's been there for a long time, and she's like, this is concerning to me. You know, I live alone. So anyway,
It'll have quite an impact on the neighborhood.
hopefully a good one.
Wait, resistance to change? Is that what I'm doing? What?
Shocking.
Shocking. I have a topic if we're.
Yeah.
A topic. One is to congratulate Matt and Pete and everyone on the park. The game nights in the parks were terrific.
They were
Terrific. I watched one of them and I thought they were really, really great. So thank you for that hard work. I feel like people really enjoyed it. And I wanted to congratulate all of us and especially Terry on the concert.
Oh.
Because we have not
Thank you.
actually acknowledged what a great success I think it was. Did you want to debrief about it at all? Or I just want to congratulate you. I thought it was a great event.
It was a good event.
It was,
Let's do it again.
it was, we could have had some more people, but both food trailers ran out of ice and food. So
Because Matt didn't bring enough ice.
yeah, it was Matt's fault. No, he made up for it. It was great. So just, I think, we've actually, so the debrief is 3 days later, Jerry Finnegan and I met over at Arrowhead. He showed me Arrowhead, and Arrowhead would actually be a beautiful park to have a concert in at some point. I believe it has an electrical box. It's very, very close to where, I mean, we could actually have a stage there. The trees are higher. There's no
The parking
limitation.
is going to be a lot easier.
A lot easier. Yeah. And he even mentioned we could probably use the Grange for parking, for overflow parking.
Yeah, I mentioned it to Ron. He said, sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so. Cool. Yeah.
I found that's a great location.
So we'd have to rename it. Somebody said we'd have to rename it.
Yes.
A more generic name, so here.
Well, Santa Clara, I
Santa Clara
like the
Concert
use
Park.
of,
Santa Clara Santa Clara concert in the park.
and I gotta say, everybody that set up and cleaned up, we were out of there. We had to be out of there by before 6, and I left at like 5:50, and they were rolling up the tents, and yeah, it's pretty great. Yay! Well, more of those.
Well done.
I do think that it's pretty cool that in the last couple of years, that, you know, that kind of more fun stuff, because I think that these came out of the suggestions that everything that we talked about was dry and boring. And so I think it's, even though like some of the park nights weren't super well attended, but some of them were. And I think kids that came had fun. And
Yeah.
I know some people are like, well, what's this for? Like, is there anything you're trying to get out of this? That was a question that was brought up by a few times. Like, no, this is just for fun. So,
Community.
yeah.
Imagine.
And I was
Really cool.
telling Kate before we started the meeting that the library has been invited to the mural celebration on the October 8th, and we haven't been invited yet, so maybe we should invite ourselves.
Definitely we should invite ourselves.
It gonna be just an open thing or? it's-
I know, I talked to Maggie and she said that they're trying to get a band and she was hoping for like a mariachi band. I don't know what the plans are.
That'd be fun.
You know, one thing we might consider is getting like a high school band, a couple of high school.
Well,
Yeah.
it's actually a high school mariachi band. She's trying.
Oh, really? There you go.
Well,
I don't know which one she's looking at.
They like went to Washington D.C.
Wow.
or they were.
Okay, so everybody's homework is to go over to your topic areas and respond back to the entire board with top 10 priorities.
We have a timetable on
How about
that.
in the next 2 weeks? Does that seem reasonable?
Sure. To do what?
Reply with the top 10 priorities from your topic areas before 2 weeks have expired. And I will contact Beth Giroux about our perceived process, and I'll share with you anything she says. And then with that list, we ought to be able to move forward with getting together with them. or if there's things in there, if you have a burning desire to amend somebody else's list, you can always send that along too. For real, because some people have some serious personal attachment to certain items.
So by September 19th.
Thank you for the math. I appreciate it.
And are we,
I looked it up. I'm all about deadlines,
Okay.
you said you thought you might have a list, but it might just be
The working group
aggregated
members.
of working group members. What that the
Let's
city
look.
might actually have a
I
topic by topic
I
list.
will ask. The thing is, when we created working groups, it was Audrey, which is like 3 planners and 4 assistants ago.
Right.
So just working groups doesn't get us there.
was,
Starts stuff. So
10? Is that what we're 10 bullet points? Is that what we were supposed to come up with?
maybe I'll have to
Yeah,
just
top 10.
look for
Top
every.
10 from your area.
We're just supposed to we got a couple people like Jerry, you and I are doing that. Do we just do them separately or?
Let's
we
just
send
do it
back and
separately
forth?
and then we can compare.
Okay.
How's that?
And if you happen to pick
Can't wait
the
to see
exact
it.
same 10, and you're done.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have to, we have to cite, we have
Potential prize for the
Mind meld.
greatest link up there. Donna, is that what you're
mind
saying?
meld. Well, it just makes it go faster. Like, here's my 10. He says, oh, there's my 10. Yay, we're done.
Is the idea for both people to agree on the 10?
Kinda.
Well.
Because otherwise you end up with 20 and then that day you can really boil it down. Kind of have to.
Well, I'm in 2019, let's say. Maybe if I just search. I don't know, it's something I can.
There was
look
almost
on
nobody
my-
in my topic area in working groups. Carleen Riley was there, but I can.
You had Louisa, community was Louisa, and Audrey, what was Audrey's last name?
So what would the process be like if you identify 10 people who were on the
Working group?
the transportation working group? What did Louie and I do with them?
You could send them an email and say, hey, we are,
Yeah. Okay.
we're on the
Prioritizing
next, the
action
next
tasks.
phase to implement the neighborhood plan is to prioritize things in the action plan.
Yeah.
And
You
you
were on
were
the
somebody
original.
who was really involved.
At one time you cared about this, so would you care about it?
Right. So, RP was email.
There, restroom.
Right next to her.
Right next to. I figured it was.
So I'm sending an email while we were talking earlier. I asked ChatGPT what some fun activities were for a meeting.
There you
And
go.
so it came up with like 14 different things. So I'm sending that to the board and you guys can all look those over. Some are quite amusing, actually.
Well, sure. What do you
Never
got?
have I ever.
Oh, you know what I mean?
Drinking games.
Drinking.
Just depends on what you.
So,
Little does everyone know it's actually.
so
a
it gave
big
me,
job.
I asked about meetings in general and it did some bigger things. I said, well, make it smaller activities. And so, one was 2 truths and a lie. Ask each attendee to share 2 truths and 1 lie about themselves, other than let's
I
guess
love that.
which statement is the lie. Speed networking, a timer for 2 to 3 minutes to have attendees pair up to introduce themselves and chat briefly. There's more to it, but I'm just reading that. Community bingo, okay, bingo cards with different items or actions related to neighborhood or meeting topics. Such as has lived here for over 5 years, owns a dog, has volunteered in the community. Neighborhood word association, start with a word related to the neighborhood and each person must quickly say a word that comes to mind.
Ooh,
Keep it going rapidly.
As a dangerous one.
That could be a quick poll or quiz, use a show of hands or a quick online poll to ask fun questions about the neighborhood. Like, what's your favorite local restaurant? What's the most interesting hidden spot? I don't know, of course. Name that
restaurant?
landmark. Show
Local restaurant.
close-up or obscure photos of local landmarks.
Oh,
And have
yeah,
People guess what they are. That's a good one.
that's a good one.
Story dice. Use story dice or cards with different images or words. Have someone roll the dice or pick a card and then make a short story about the neighborhood using the prompts. Pictionary. Mini raffle. Hold a small raffle with fun or practical prizes, like a gift card to a local business. Neighborhood memory chain. Start with one person sharing a short memory about the neighborhood, and the next person adds their own memory that connects somehow to the previous one. So that doesn't great. Compliment circle. Pass a small object like a ball around, and when someone receives it, they have to give a compliment to the person who passed it to them. Guess the number. Fill a jar with candies or other small items. You know how that works. Finish the sentence. Go around the room and have each person finish a sentence like, the best thing about our neighborhood is, or I would like to see our community. Quick team challenge. Split attendees into smaller groups and give them a quick task, like building tallest tower with marshmallow. That is actually a cool thing.
There's a lot of
I've
fun
seen
with
that.
the Boy
I've seen
Scouts.
that.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And I created a slogan for the community or design a new logo paper. This can encourage teamwork. Activity. 1 minute talent show. Invite willing participants to showcase a quick talent, like telling a joke, doing the magic trick, or sharing something. So it was 15.
That's great.
Yeah.
I got the ones for the Parks and Natural Resources and I forwarded it to you, although there's 2 deaths so far on that. That's how long it's been.
There's 2 what? That
2 people have died
Yes.
from the working group, but.
Not from-
Not from the working group, that were members of it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so let's see. I don't have one that I see that's for everybody. I have to figure out how to ask for it.
Well, probably don't want from everybody. I want, it's better to have it topic by topic if you have that.
Yeah, would be, wouldn't it? I will ask Terry Harding in tomorrow and see what we can.
Awesome.
last weekend I went to Looper Cemetery and did headstone cleaning. And we had this group from Albany that had done a few of the headstones, and then they offered to do this class. So Peter said, "Oh, come on, man, let's do this," because we all love Looper. And so I went down there and got there a little late, so I got the little brief instruction, but it was pretty straightforward, and it was amazing cleaning those headstones. And so
They use TSP or what do they use?
no,
to
they
do?
use a quaternary ammonium compound, and I'm actually familiar with that from other work I did as a chemist. But it's fairly innocuous, and and just water. They brought in a little tanker thing with water and little pump sprayers, and you spray it, scrape it, and then you spray it with this compound, and it kind of sits and helps deteriorate more of the lichen and the discoloration that's on there. And then you scrape it and rinse it some more, and little scrub brushes and things, all plastic, abrasive. And it was great. I did the tall bond.
That's a big
That was a big one, yeah.
That's a big
So-
one.
and it was just this black mass, and it really looked horrible. When I cleaned it up, it was like this beautiful marble. It was black and white streaked marble.
Mm.
Oh, cool.
But
So you
good.
felt that right away. You felt like a big accomplishment.
Yeah, it was a huge
Satisfying.
accomplishment. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Gratifying. That's the
Yeah.
Did you by chance sit on the benches out there?
Which benches?
The maple ones, what the
Uh-oh.
scouts
The
made,
big
Yeah.
round.
from the
Oh.
down branches.
Did I?
From the down branches, yeah, those are cool.
Oh, you mean the ones that've been there for a long
Uh-huh.
time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
those-
yeah. They're actually deteriorating pretty good.
Well, the one in the back is, how about the one at the very entry? Because that was in decent shape.
Yes, I did sit on that bench.
Were you part of
That was a
that?
construction-
My son, it was his legal.
Oh, wow.
We worked hours and hours.
Yeah, that's cool.
So this is kind of what it looked like in the beginning. And then this.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And it was completely unreadable when I started.
Cool.
It looked
That is
like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Great.
Nice.
it was interesting. So, and they left a bunch of that solution with Peter. And they put it in
Did you go
the-
straight home and clean the grout in the shower?
Yeah. I didn't bring any home.
But it kind of makes you want to get your headstone all like ready now. We could clean it every once in a while in anticipation.
Teach the kids how to clean it, right?
There we go. There we go. It's gonna be on them.
I like the lichen.
Yeah, and they are actually some of them are pretty cool. But you like to be able to read,
Yeah.
what it says, because everybody has their little epitaph on the bigger one,
What did that one say? Had a great
What did it
sense of
say?
humor.
Kicked
Just
by
a
a
real
horse.
good guy.
Why?
Just a note, I'm
Oh,
not taking,
why-
I'm not taking any minutes on this. Have we adjourned?
I'm fine with that unless somebody else has something.
She was only 31 years old, but this monument was erected by the women of the wood. And it's not very clear when I zoom in, but the women's auxiliary of the Woodsmen of the World, the WOW people.
Yeah.
So like
Whoa.
WOW ball, right?
Women's wow.
So that was interesting.
We're done.
Yep.
Are there other